Hi there, today's book is Just the Nicest Couple by Mary Kubica. Lily and Nina are good friends. They're both teachers, and they became friends over time after Lily was a new teacher. And so at this point, they're good friends. They talk about their personal lives, what's going on with each other. Nina is married to Jake, who's a neurosurgeon, and Lily is married to Christian. Now, Lily is currently pregnant, and she has had a couple miscarriages before, so it's very important that she makes it to a certain milestone which she's looking forward to. Now, one day she's home, and Christian comes home, and he's calling out to her, but she's sitting in the chair. She's not answering. Her back is towards the door, and so the first thing that comes to his mind is maybe she miscarried again. So he's panicking. He's going over to her, seeing what's going on, but it seemed like something was wrong, but she didn't really say what it was. So after that happened, the next day, I believe it was, she's back at school, and Nina confided in her that Jake didn't come home. Now, we know that Nina and Jake are having some problems in their marriage. They talk about that as well. And so this makes Lily a little bit worried because something must have happened to Jake. So they've had dinner and hung out as a couple, but it doesn't seem like Jake is the nicest guy. He's quite pompous because he's, a neurosurgeon. And he is one of those people who's not very warm, so to speak. So we get the impression that, at least the excuse that Nina makes is that maybe it's because, he has to have this demeanor of control and calmness, and has to be like non-emotional in order to make sure that he doesn't panic when things go awry in surgery. And so that makes him good as a neurosurgeon. So eventually, Lily tells Christian what's really going on. The story that she tells is that, she had encountered Jake when she went for a walk at the preserve that's near their house. She mentions how Jake had come on to her and she had hit him with a rock. So now, because Jake didn't come home, she is worried, and this is why she ended up telling her husband. So Christian is saying, well, maybe it could be anything why he didn't come home. Remember, they're having problems, and so they talk about the issues. So she seems to be holding something back as well, but she's not telling him the whole truth. So anyway, Nina's mentioning being concerned about Jake, and she gives the appropriate responses, but all the while she knows that potentially she might have really hurt him because he hasn't gone home. So it's going on a week or two and still no Jake. So they decided that they were going to go back to the preserve to figure out, maybe find out where he is, see if they can find him or whatever. They went there, and still they didn't find the body according to where she thought that she had left him. And so they decided they're going to cover this up because, of course, she's pregnant and he doesn't want anything to happen to her. So they decide to move things around, do certain things to kind of detract from that connection. Now, one day when she was in the class talking to Nina, there's another lady who worked at the school, and she had mentioned that her husband saw her at the preserve. So now there's a connection between, her being there at that time and Jake being there at that time. So they're starting to panic. I believe this is what led them to start to try to cover things up. So one day, before they started covering things up, or while they were covering things up, they decided that they had to move the car because they were driving around looking for the car at the preserve. And so there's a couple different parking lots there, and they were like, just when they were feeling relieved that maybe he wasn't really dead, they found the car. Now they can't move the car because they don't have the keys. So now Lily has to get close to Nina and try to get the key. So then Nina didn't have the key, so then Christian had to go to the house. He went into the house and to try to get the spare key. Now, because Jake had been missing for a while, Nina decides she's going to log into the community Facebook page and see if anybody has any video. But she uses this under the guise of saying maybe she has a missing package. So one of the neighbors sent her video footage from their doorbell cam, and she saw that somebody had pulled up. She didn't see who it was, but she saw that it was a black vehicle. So now, one day when Lily was at school, Christian came to help her with her car. Something had happened with her car. She had talked to Lily already about this, so Lily didn't have to come out. He just came to fix it so she could get home. So while he was there, guess who walked up? It was Nina, and Nina was like looking at the vehicle like, She's walking around looking at it, and she's asking questions, and so he was like dying to get out of there. He's trying to change the subject and all that. So after that, she has it in her head like something is going on. So she hasn't said anything to him, to Lily, about her suspicions. Anyway, after it's been a few weeks, they found the vehicle where they had moved it, and so she had to go to the police to try to get the vehicle. Now, she had also mentioned to the police about the black vehicle, and of course they kind of shrugged it off because there was no evidence as far as who it was, and it could be anybody, and there just wasn't sufficient evidence to say this person had done anything nefarious. So after that happened, she got the vehicle. They found the vehicle. Still no Jake, because she had called and all that. No answer. But because they were having, marital issues, she, in the back of her mind, trying not to think of the worst, she thinks that maybe, he might have taken off somewhere and didn't want to talk to her or whatever. So when she got the vehicle back, she found an earring that was missing belonging to Lily. So she was even more suspicious now. Like, what is Lily's earring doing in there? So anyway, she brought it back to her and like, oh yeah, you're missing earring. And she's like, oh, thank you. And so she couldn't have give an explanation as to why it was there, but she thought it was suspicious. What was her earring doing in there? So now she feels like there's more going on, and she knows that her husband, Jake, had said some inappropriate things about Lily, like, he has a crush on her or something like that. And so she wonders if there was something going on between the two of them. Anyway, she eventually got another video footage from that post that she had in the community Facebook page. And she realizes that there was somebody who came to her door and they put in the code to the garage and went into her house. She was horrified. And so she brought that to the police, and she decided that she's not going to go back to her house since somebody is able to get into the house. So she was going to stay with her mom. So now her mom has some medical issues, something to do with her eye. I can't remember the condition. So lately she's been spending a lot of time with her mom because of her issues, and she can't drive and all that. She also had a surgery coming up as well because of some lumps that she found. So she was having issues with Jake as well because of the amount of time that she was spending with her mom, which was just unbelievable. Her mom was sick and he was having issues with that. So she decides she's going to stay with her mom, and, she feels like she would be safer there. So eventually the police decided to do a full investigation after they found the body to figure out what had happened. They started interviewing the friends and family, and of course they came and interviewed Lily and Christian, and they pretty much play the nice couple. And they didn't really suspect that it had anything to do with them at that point. So after she got the additional footage, they were able to determine, who the person was. And of course, the person who was in the video had a connection to Nina. And so they kind of had to confess about certain things that had happened. So we thought that this person was the person who had killed Jake because of all the circumstantial evidence. And it turns out that while there was a connection between Jake and that person, that really wasn't the person who killed Jake. And so at the end of the book, there is a twist as far as who the true villain was. And I have to say that I didn't see that coming. I don't want to say too much about that because I don't want to give that part away for those of you who haven't heard that book. So that was a good thing that had that twist. But after we discovered who the villain is, I felt like there were a couple parts of the story as far as, you know, what happened with Nina and the person who found to have been the one to kill Jake. I was a little bit disappointed with the end of the book. I was expecting a little bit more, I don't know, action at the end. The twist was great, but I don't know what I was expecting. I felt a little bit disappointed with the ending of that. But it was still a good book. The author did a great job of building up to the point where we find out who the killer was. And up to that point, we kind of had, I guess, different possibilities of who. Well, no, we didn't really have different possibilities. We kind of knew who the person was, or who we thought it was. So it was throughout the book, it was pointing to a certain person or people, and then it turned out that that wasn't it. And then there also was a little event that happened that I suspected, and I was thinking that this was where the book was going, but it wasn't, which would have been a great thing. I was thinking that maybe there was a serial killer because of something that happened with Christian, but that wasn't the case. And I think that would have been nice to have had that element in there. But anyway, it was still a good read. I would give this one maybe 3.7 or so. Not quite a 4 in my opinion, but if you have read or listened to this book, let me know your thoughts.